Welcome to the Great Indian Spice Wars. Since 2020, everyone from ITC to Tata Consumer Products to Dabur and even Wipro has been scrambling to cement their place in kitchen pantries across the country. They've recognized that spices are where the money is at. This is a category that offers some of the highest margins. We're talking 30 to 35% for pure spices and anywhere up to 60% for blended spices, which is why many of the biggest FMCG giants haven't shied away from paying top dollar to acquire some of these brands. It's proven to be like a gift that just keeps on giving. Case in point, the stocks of Tata Consumer and ITC have both outperformed the S&P BSE FMCG index over the last 5 years. Now, that was all the vindication that Norwegian conglomerate Orkla needed to finally go public. Earlier in June, its Indian unit filed its draft red herring prospectus. It's preparing for a partial exit at an undisclosed amount. Now, here's a company that's been ahead of the curve for quite a while now. It saw the promise that spices could offer way before others did, which is why its Indian unit went ahead and acquired Bangalore based MTR's packaged food division in 2007 and then Kerala based spice company Eastern Condiments in 2021. Its bet paid off. MTR ended up becoming Okla's golden goose. In FY25, it reported a revenue of nearly 2,400 crore rupees. That's a 10% increase in just the last 2 years. Today, 60% of Okla's revenue comes from spices alone, which explains why it has finally decided to shoot its shot and go public. But while Okla may have an early mover advantage, it isn't going to be a smooth run. You see, the spice category comes with its own unique challenges. First and foremost, it is an extremely fragmented segment, dominated by a bunch of regional players catering to hyper specific local tastes and preferences. And then, of course, there's the issue of adulteration. Some of the biggest national brands have been accused of it. After all, there's a reason that these margins are so high. So, while this industry is hot, could it be too hot to handle? Well, let's find out. Something changed right after the pandemic. Suddenly, every major FMCG player wanted to have a spice brand to its name. And what followed was a downright feeding frenzy, where they started acquiring regional spice brands left, right, and center. So, what was once a rather niche category ended up becoming the hottest commodity in the industry. An industry expert we spoke to said it's gotten to a point where if an FMCG company hired a management consultancy to figure out which segment to get into next, the likely answer would be spices. Why? Well, it ultimately comes down to the margins. Where, say, oil and ghee offer single digit margins and staples like rice and pulses hover around 20%, spices consistently offer margins north of 30%. This when even premium products like dry fruits max out at 25%. The real gold mine, though, is blended spices, the likes of sambar powders or chole masalas, the kind of thing that you could make at home, but it's often tedious. Now, Okla excels in this department. Its most popular offerings include its sambar masala, its chicken masala, and its puliogre masala. The high margins that these blends offer make them irresistible for FMCG companies looking to boost their bottom line. But it isn't quite that straightforward either. You see, the biggest challenge for these companies is the fact that each region has its own unique spice blends. Think Rishado masala in Goa or Bisibili Bath in Karnataka. Hell, even Sambar masala will vary from southern state to southern state. It's difficult for one blended spice brand to cater to all regions, which explains why around 2,000 brands compete for over 50% of this market. The rest? Well, they're all unorganized. This is one of the most fragmented categories in Indian FMCG. It's also kind of like the mafia, where each boss controls their own territory. The brands Archie and Shakti rule Tamil Nadu. Brahmins, Nirapara, Kitchen Treasures, and Eastern dominate Kerala. And Sunrise is big in Eastern India. In Karnataka, of course, it's all about MTR. So the issue then becomes scale. How do you break out of a region? The broader verdict is almost unanimous. National FMCG companies looking to achieve pan India dominance on the backs of standardized products must now bow down to regional tastes in spices. To grow in the industry, you have two options: either acquire an existing brand that's popular in a region or create a different brand altogether. Naturally, most choose the former. It gives you access to a loyal customer base and proven flavor profiles that would otherwise take decades to develop. Look no further than MTR, which tried to enter Kerala 4 times and failed every single time. It finally acquired Eastern Condiments for about 1,356 crore rupees rather than fight the uphill battle of consumer acceptance. Now, even if you do figure that out, the other big issue to address is distribution. Gaps there could very quickly erode hard won loyalty. And that's exactly why some brands choose their territory and stick to it. They don't even entertain aspirations of venturing out or becoming a pan India brand. Stay tuned.
Why do pitches have to be in offices and cafes and Zoom calls?
That's the question Arjun Vedya, founder VC and pickleball enthusiast, is asking. And he's not alone. From courts to climbing gyms, a new wave of founders and professionals are rewriting the rules of networking. They want to make it more human and less transactional. The first episode of 90,000 Hours, the Ken's new podcast on the future of work, dives right in. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts. Now, because of the spice boom, a lot of things started to change. For starters, the Indian spice market started shifting from unorganized to packaged spices. Earlier, consumers, most of whom were women, would typically buy whole spices and then grind them at home. But the world has changed since then. You see, with lifestyle changes, urbanization, and more women going to work, there's an increasing demand for convenient, pre-packaged, pre-ground masalas and spices. What hasn't changed is where people are purchasing spices. Even today, majority of sales continue to take place through retail chains and kiranas. Of course, there is a small but very fast growing percentage coming from e-commerce channels now as well. So, in a fast growing, fast changing market like this, most FMCG companies are paying big bucks to acquire regional champions in lieu of organic growth. For instance, take ITC's Ashirvad, which is a household name across India, particularly when it comes to wheat flour. In spite of its stellar brand recall, ITC was unable to expand the brand into spices. At the end of the day, customers just were not able to connect the brand to spices. This forced ITC to acquire the Kolkata based spice maker Sunrise Foods for about 2,150 crore in 2020. That, despite having one of the country's strongest distribution networks. Similarly, there's Tata Salt by Tata Consumer Products. This is another popular choice among consumers. But the company faced the same problem. It struggled to carry the brand equity into spices. That is until spice and pulse focused brand Tata Sampann acquired Lucknow based Organic India in 2024 that helped it scale. This not only brought in more revenue, but also some crucial local market knowledge. Now, MTR is an anomaly here. You see, unlike with ITC and Tata, Orkla India is almost entirely dependent on spices for its revenue. It brings in about two-thirds of its top line. The rest comes from ready to cook and eat meals. But the thing with ready to cook and eat is that people buy it only when they want to trade time for convenience. Mostly, people make time, which ends up making these products quite difficult to scale. That's why, say, ID Fresh Foods, the Bangalore based food products company, is nowhere near being a 1,000 crore company. That, despite the fact that it's been in the business for more than 2 decades now. MTR's success in South India, where it makes 70% of its revenue, goes hand in hand with its failure to expand in the north. Inflows from the region are limited to 5%. West and East India follow with 3 and 1% respectively, and the rest comes from global exports to the US for MTR and to the Middle East for Eastern. This is perhaps why the current IPO is entirely an offer for sale with no fresh capital raised. The company may not have immediate expansion opportunities to justify fresh investment. The other big issue plaguing the Indian spice industry is adulteration. Since spices are sold in ground or powdered form, they're a very easy target for adulteration, which only adds to the beefy margins these categories already enjoy. For instance, several MDH and Everest products were suspected of being contaminated with ethylene oxide, which is a carcinogenic pesticide. Their sales ended up being suspended in Hong Kong and Singapore in 2024. Now, it's common enough for brands to substitute ground spices with fillers like lower quality spices, flour, cornstarch, and even sawdust. Some even add colored dyes to spices to make them look fresh and hide the fillers they've mixed in. Needless to say, it can obviously be extremely harmful. In fact, just last year, the Food Safety Administration Standards Authority of India even released a booklet on how certain home tests can help identify adulteration. Want to know if your chili powder has sawdust in it? Well, add it to water. The chili powder will settle at the bottom while any sawdust will float to the top. That's the risk that arises when FMCG companies fight tooth and nail to acquire regional brands. In this relentless pursuit of higher margins, this is the unfortunate underbelly. So, as Okla gears up for its public market debut, it would do well to heed to the quintessential strengths of the spice industry without undermining its rather unique challenges. Can a pure play regional strategy command premium valuations? Well, Okla's fate will likely influence how other regional food companies move forward.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings. A full subscription unlocks daily long-form feature stories, newsletters, and podcast extras. Head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the website. Today's episode was hosted by Rahel Philippos and edited by Rajiv CN.